Thanks for checking out this month's game review. Welcome back, those of you that have been checking these out as they've been coming out. And per usual, look out for spoilers for the games listed in description. But this is a game review, so you guys should kind of know that anyway. So this month we'll be reviewing Sekiro: Shadows Strike Twice or Die Twice. Yeah, that's total. I tried to get into that and I really wanted to review it for you guys, but damn, is that a hard game. Yeah, we're not going to be reviewing that. It's a wonderfully made game, but too hard for me. So this month I'll be reviewing Days Gone. It's a story-driven open-world zombie shooter game. It's got survival elements to it. It's got crafting elements to it. It was released for the PS4 on April 26, 2019. And it kind of came out to mixed reviews. It had a bit of an odd release. So while most reviews were like mid range, 6 to 7 out of 10, it still killed it in sales across the globe. So like it seems like they did something right, but critically they got slapped. I don't know how to put it any other way. Like I didn't buy this game when it came out because the critical reviews were so terrible. Like Game Informer was slaughtering it. A lot of like the Metacritics and places like that, they were just slaughtering the game. So I was like, oh, not even worth the time. I wasn't necessarily on the hype train for another zombie game, but you know, a sale came around, and I just figured, why not? Everything's content, right? Um, so in this game, you play as Deacon Saint John. He's a former biker, now a drifter in this post-apocalyptic world. So a drifter is just kind of like a raider, but they're not all absolutely crazy, if you want to think about it like that. Um, so, well, I say post-apocalyptic world. This game takes place in the Oregon mountains, so it's like a quarantine zone in the Oregon mountains. So that's where you're gonna be driving around. Obviously, since he's a biker, the main point or the main like means of transportation is the bike. So you're gonna be doing a lot of driving. The plot itself revolves around you as Deacon exploring the wastes and trying to keep your friend Boozer, which is another biker from your gang. By the way, the gang is called the Mongrels. So you're trying to keep this guy Boozer alive while looking for your quote unquote dead wife. So the game starts and she's dead, and spoilers through the game you kind of like learn things about her where she might not be dead, and you have to kind of build on that. The creators do an excellent job of making you really like Sarah. His wife's name is Sarah. They like there's this one cutscene where he's like walking through I guess it's like a field or like a creek bed with her, and she's teaching him stuff, and there's just a bunch of funny cliche lines. It's delivered pretty well. So they kind of build you up through those cut scenes with her and all that for the hopes of like a happy ending or something like that. And I'm just gonna spoil it right off the bat. That's not gonna happen in a game like this. You don't get that happy ending. Anyway, while exploring, you do get to make some like decisions and quote unquote decisions, which largely they don't really mean much, and that's why it's in quotes. They do kind of make you feel like you're a part of the world. You get to choose between certain camps and which ones you want to support and all that kind of stuff. But your backstory is largely written, and so like what the decisions you make are they're kind of pointless. And also in a game that's like where your whole civilization has been destroyed by zombies, I mean your decisions, quote unquote, like won't really matter that much. So again, you're not getting Mass Effect levels of choice from this game, but it's almost enough to make you feel as though there's like a living world where you're participating in what's going on. I mean, it's not it's the storyline is still pretty railroaded, unfortunately, but they at least ask your opinion, I guess, from time to time. Mechanically, it's a typical third-person shooter adventure fare with jump scares and zombies. You could literally slap zombies on Mass Effect, like I mentioned earlier, and get rid of the choice system, and it's a really similar game. You're gonna be driving, from location to location on your bike and shooting either raider, quote unquote, drifter kind of people, or freaks, and freaks are their zombies. Um, so you're going to be going there. You'll travel to an area, hide behind a chest high wall, pop out, shoot, dash, all that kind of stuff. It does have a little bit of a crafting mechanic that kind of grows as you progress through the game. So like as you do storylines, which are your story missions, but they're separated into percentages, you unlock new things that you can craft with and shoot with and all that kind of stuff, right? And the crafting mechanic, since it's kind of tied to that, feels like it's lacking. I mean, as you progress through the game, you kind of get more that you can craft, if that makes sense, but it never feels fully fleshed out. It feels like it's like, oh, this would be something that someone would be doing, let's throw it in there. um, that said, though, there are some cool moments with it, right? So like you're being attacked by a bunch of zombies and you realize you can make a Molotov cocktail real quick, put that together and just toss it at them, and they burst into flames or whatever. It can save you, and it's kind of cool sometimes, but again, it doesn't really feel fleshed out until after the halfway point of the game, and that doesn't, and even at that, it doesn't reinvent anything. It doesn't really add to the game that much. So that said, my take, and I gave my opinion a little bit in there, but I've played about somewhere around 25 to 60 hours of this game. A lot. Like, I haven't beaten it because I like to kind of explore the world and do the side missions. My favorite thing here was going to freaker encampments, and I guess it's basically like a town, right? And you just burn down their little nests. I guess that was a lot of fun, but it's, again, like, it's an okay game. It's not a terrible game. The graphics do chunk with the hordes, which I gotta say one thing about zombie hordes in zombie games. I am sick of how every single zombie game competes on, like, oh, our hordes are this big, and then the next company or the next dev studio is like, oh, then we'll make them that big plus one. It just, all it does is clog up your graphics card or your processor, and because each of those models is a unique model, even if you have to make at least one body and one texture, and even if that's just the same body and texture and effects and all that crap layered over and over and over and over again, it just makes everything slow. I'd much rather a game that generates good moments out of zombies instead of just a carbon copy game with a fuckwit amount of zombies. It's just a gimmick, you know what I mean? That said, that diatribe over. It's not a terrible game, right? The open world, it kind of has been done to death, but it is beautiful. It's very well rendered. The foliage looks real. It looks very similar to life. Unfortunately, that doesn't really translate when I'm whizzing past a tree at Mach 3, dodging zombies and God knows what else, because I'm not like having a leisurely drive on my bike through Oregon, right? It's like, oh, there's a zombie, dodge the zombie. Oh my God, now a wolf is attacking me. Can't let him bite me, so on and so forth. So I'm going crazy fast. I don't get to take in the scenery. The combat overall, it's a bit, there's a bit gimmicky, like I said, with the crafting system. There's an interesting fuel mechanic that both plays into combat and plays into traveling. So you have to keep your bike like not broken and fueled. So you might have to stop and fight a bunch of people while like carrying a gas can to your car. Also, again, it's a little gimmicky, but it's not the worst, and it makes sense logically, right? Like you don't have a bike with infinite gas. The more where it gets a little even, like where it gets kind of tacky, I'd say tacky as opposed to gimmicky. I don't know the difference. Um, is the food collection and the bounty system. It seems completely pointless, right? Like, I collect ears or whatever body part, and I collect food, but then I just turn him into a guy that makes the food. You don't get items for it. You just get like a little bit of money, and it's both meaningless, and it feels like they were just like, oh well, this will be a weird collection mechanic. Throw it in there. It's really dumb. In a lot of ways, it feels like the game needed to pick a couple of lanes and just stick with them. Be like, okay, we're a shooter, third person shooter action game with zombies. Okay, we need to make we want to tell this kind of story, and the story isn't terrible. We want to have a crafting system, and you just really grow on those three areas instead of having everything that's in every game nowadays. You know what I mean? And I know that sounds a little bit harsh. I keep trying to say like it's a good game, it's okay, and then I come down on it. So let's just be positive, right? Like, it is beautiful. It's really well done. The game is well rendered. The graphics are done well. The textures look beautiful when they render correctly. And the only times that's really a problem is when you're dealing with the hordes, right? Because it's like 50 million of those evil zombie sons of bitches, and they're all unique, well done models. The story doesn't get enough love. A lot of people hate on the story, but like it's good. It does teeter a little bit at about like 15 hours. I was kind of like, all right, come on. Like, I don't need to go and get this guy a puppy. As adorable as this is kind of dumb. But the cliche kind of love story that it tells with the whole like biker and the more smart like city girl is really cool to me, and the whole honor story between him and Boozer, his quote unquote brother, like that's really cool. I really enjoyed that, and I don't think that got enough love. There was a lot of kind of hate, I think, on it being cliche and not innovative in the narrative. But you don't always have to be like that as long as it's done well, in my opinion. Um, the gameplay, it doesn't do anything wrong. Again, it does not do anything wrong. There might be some spawning issues, but other than that, like it's fine. It just doesn't reinvent the wheel. It's good. It's good for a while. It does get a little boring, but it's not that bad. All in all, I think I'm gonna forgo the rating system, the 3 out of 5, 4 out of 5s that I've been doing, because that's just kind of dumb. I will say I'd recommend this game. Like, I wouldn't buy it full price. I'd pick it up if it was on sale for sure. And you had some time to kill. It's the summer season right now when this is coming out, so you gotta kind of make do with games. As soon as the Steam summer sale's over, you're gonna have to buy anything if you're looking for a new game. But that said, yeah. Again, low key recommend. Don't buy it full price. It's not worth it. But definitely a fun game. That said, thank you all for watching. I'd love to hear your opinion on the game in the comments below, or anything else you'd like me to play and review. Please give the video a like, subscribe, YouTube. Check out all the social media if you want more updates on the projects I'm doing. And yeah, thanks again for checking us out.